get better at FC25. Now, before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? That's the Nil Guys guarantee. We got in-depth tutorials that are not even on the YouTube channel. We show you the theory of something and we show you gameplay examples in a structured format. We also go over real-life football examples that apply to the game and exclusive pro gameplay analysis, full gameplay analysis to elevate your game. We teach you everything from the basics to the meta. Come join at patreon.com/Nil Guys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guys guarantee. Links down below in the description. Okay, what's going on, guys? A lot of people have been asking me actually with the 4-4-1-1 with a new role system, how would I integrate them into a setup? So I thought I'd just go through them. I'll put the codes on again. They'll be on the usual on the left hand side while I go through these as quick as possible. This would be like a defensive tactic, as I said, more of a passive one. Maybe you could argue one to close the game out. Look, I'm not really much of a short passing. I like players to make runs it behind, so I personally don't like short passing. But if you are one of those players, you can leave it like that. Now, the big changes I would make is the advanced forward support. I actually really like this system. I think when you're playing that defensive role and you don't mind your striker not being up front, but there for the 1-2s, or even there just to make those runs from deep for the L1 triangle, I think actually support is actually a very good option. The benefit of this, like, I don't really like, a false 9 because I feel they're not involved too much in the attack and you still want that attack and presence. So that is why I would say support is actually an interesting one that you actually can use. And most definitely I would say helps if you've got a striker that's fast. For the cam, look, I use playmaker build up. I think the downside is, look, if you're asking me, if you have here a cam player that can play center mid, you're better off just changing to a 4-5-1. So if you want to make this a more defensive formation, try to get a player here that's a cam that has a secondary role as a center mid. That way you can bring those players back and then you can have a 4-5-1. That would be the best defensive layout. The 4-4-1-1 is not going to be the best defensive layout, especially because you don't have ceilings. But let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, you're like, Nil, I don't have the luxury of having those players, and you have to use center mids there, and then you need a cam. Then what you can do is do something like this: put the wingers in, put both the center mids on holding, and the defense like this. Pretty much simple. And then the defensive approach would be 40. So that would be, you could argue, the defensive formation, the one to either close the game out with or even start the game with. If you want to start the game with it, just remove the cam, build up play, just put them on base, put the cam on balanced, or what you'd normally put them on attack. Then you'll have the second variation. So what I did here is I put the classic 10 here. I mentioned why I don't like the classic 10. I think for those who are watching this video, maybe if you have a progressive system like this, it wouldn't be too bad because you could always switch. But I explained yesterday why I prefer the shadow striker, because they're more involved. We've got inside forwards. Inside forwards are probably the more attacking. The benefit of wingers is when you're trying to close the game out, they're wide and they're ready to basically pounce. And that is really the key, is when you have like a formation like this and you have wingers, not only do they help defensively, but you have that outlet to go forward. When you go to like an attacking formation, you always want inside forwards. Left wings and right wings are better because you can do inside forward roaming, but you can't really do, or technically you can't really do like a 4-4-1-1 unless you wanted to put like a strike on support or build up, but it's not the same. We put one of them on the deep line playmaker build up. Ideally here, the person that can pass, so this should be swapped around. So Guijarro, the one that can make the passes. Ideally in a situation you can put like that. Again, the back forwards still remain. As I said, look, I don't really like the classic 10, but you can also use a playmaker attack. So if you are going to follow the system and you want like a defensive system, this would be more of the balance system. We put a sweeper keeper in. It doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm kind of like, I'm still testing this out. I'm kind of like halfway in and out. So you can leave this on just normal goalkeeper. You don't have to put sweeper keeper on. So this would be more to close the game out. This would be one to, I would say, more of a balanced system. still on the defensive end, erring on the side of caution. But it's more of a progressive style with passing. Now, I personally prefer this one. This one is with. Oh yeah, so let me just show you the difference. I know a lot of people they don't even they don't use the codes. They prefer just to copy the tactics, which I think is quicker anyway, as opposed to using the code. The counter is probably the most important thing. Now, this is what I say is, look, unless it's a defensive formation in my eyes, I'm always going to want counter. I think counter is just so effective. Here, the only thing we've done is we put a shadow striker on the actual striker, sorry, cam, and then we put one that center mids to playmaker attack. So that way you have one the center mids going forward. You see every single stage of this formation, it becomes more and more attacking. So the idea is, if you're struggling inside the game, you can become more attacking. That's the key, especially if you're using a one format. And a lot of people are using just a 4-4-1-1, or just a 4-2-1-3. It's always good to have a system like this where you can progressively change. We still keep the back four all of them on stay back effectively. I don't. It's a bit of a weird one. I always say, like, I only really push a fullback going forward if you're comfortable. And a lot of people just take what I say literally and copy exactly what I say. But you can have the liberty of putting, for example, two wing backs or wing back. But I know most people don't like committing a fullback going forward. So that's the way that I have it. Shadow striker more attacking and center mid. So basically, it's like one notch up from this one. And as I said, with the shadow striker, it kind of plays like that second striker. The play is more involved. Both the depth of 55 is completely fine. And then you have the last tactics, which would be now this one you could even go to like 65. It depends how you use this formation. I just put poacher in. The only difference is that the center mids is a ball winning center mid. I talked about this quite a lot. It is actually very aggressive. Maybe you could even probably argue that put them on holding, especially that center mid that's covering. Maybe holding might be better. Just holding on defend. But this could be an aggressive option that you may want to try. In fact, maybe what might be more advisable actually is doing a quick switcheroo and putting this one to ball winning and this one to holding, because you're committing the right back going forward. At least you have a CDM kind of covering for that role. So if you were going to do it like that, you could do something like that. And you could put, for example, Tonali on playmaker attacks. You got those three players attacking, and then you got that shadow striker. Now, what would I do if I'm losing? Now, this is the thing. When I'm losing, I don't like the 4-4-1-1. It's not a formation. What I would do immediately is, let's say if I could play the 4-4-2, I would as well, but I prefer the 4-2-4. And the sole reason I like this is because I can put the inside forwards on roaming. I think for me, this is my favorite. Then what I would do is put, for example, playmaker attack, put one of them on box to box, one of them on holding. I leave my fullbacks on defend. And then what I do basically here is I normally sub off that player. So let's say, for example, you're losing. Try to find. I know it's hard, but we're at this stage now in the game that you shouldn't really have any difficulties trying to find a player. But a good sub will be very, very good. One thing that you can do, just a quick thing that I'll tell you. I'm just going over some of the players. Before there wasn't that many players available. Rooney's a good option, especially use the power shot. I know the first time ones have been nerfed, but he's still very good. Alvarez is another good card. No, these are more of the pricier ones. But I'll tell you, Donovan is actually a really good card. Don't sleep on it, this Donovan card, by the way. He's actually a very, very good card. And with quick step, if you're the L1 speed boost abuser, this is definitely a card to use. And he's got good passing as well. And then you can go with even someone like Diaby. So there is a bit more options, whereas there wasn't previously. But if I am losing, I would do something like this. And I will go like 70 counter. And the idea is you're defending that 4-4-2 and you're attacking 4-4-2, but then you have the player that can. So, like, let's say, for example, like, I don't know, I'm winning. I'm losing, for example, 2-0. I get back in the game. Then I can always slot into this one and play Donovan and Camp, for example. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Don't forget if you want to get better at FC, come to my Patreon. So FC.com, patreon.com/no guides. Losing my voice on this end. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace.